to the Runner X podcast, where we talk about all things running. As many runners know, it's 90% mental. So join Coach Valerie and Coach Caroline as we go through the mental side of running.
Welcome back to the Runner X podcast. I'm your host, Coach Caroline, and I'm here with Coach Valerie. And Coach, we were talking recently about running by yourself. Like, even though you're in a group, even though maybe you're in a running group or whatever, that how do you kind of keep your brain from getting caught up in the conversations or the drama that's going on around you? What advice would you give to a runner that's trying to do that? Like, how do you do that?
So it's funny because a lot of people love running in groups and love running in race settings or like to go out to trails where there's a lot of people. So that's I know that. And I was that person. And then also we have lots of runners that like to run on their own. And one of the things that I tell people is you've got to learn to really enjoy running itself. And that's a connection with you and your body. So you really have to make time to practice on your own. You know, not running so much by yourself, but doing some practice on your own. That way, even if I'm in a setting of a race setting or I'm in a group setting, my run is still mine. You should be able to dial in to your running. And again, that's because we talk about the movement of running. It's so easy to get caught up in someone else's run. And as a running coach, by the way, guys, I used to do lots of running groups. When I first started coaching, I would just take people out running. It was like a running Uber. But the idea was because, of course, with me, I'm always teaching running. So I would just have people, we would do metronome drills, we would do pull drills. So our entire run was about our movement of running. So that was my running group. Well, what I found very quickly was nobody really wanted to do that. They wanted to chat. They wanted to tell me about what they were doing today or I don't know, whatever. And I thought, no. You have to refocus on what am I doing right now? I'm running. And part of running is connecting with what running is. So I found very quickly that myself, personally, I could do that because my focus is on running. So what I highly encourage for people to do is stay with your group, no problem. Stay with, especially if you're going to race, you're going to be with other people, but do some body work practice by yourself. Mm-hmm. Because no one can run the race for you. You can have a pacer, you can have a friend come meet you, all of that stuff. And I'm great with that. However, maybe even, if you're in a group or you run with someone a lot, you would definitely want them to maybe even do some practice stuff with you. But it actually is so much better, even as a friend, to say to your friend, hey, let's focus on our run. And let's work on things like let's find a fall point, or let's try to hold ourselves up, or let's try to do our cadence. You'd be surprised at what a better movement you're going to have overall. We do tell people all this. I used to tell people, if you're going to do Run RX, you may just want to meet your friends for coffee after the run.
Yeah. Isn't that the way it is? But I love the story you told recently about your running group. You have a small group that you run with, and how you came back after being out of town, and you were you're not normally very chatty. Tell that story real quick. I thought that was fun.
Yeah. So that's the thing too, because I am the coach. I can run and talk, which is a skill. So I'm so good at getting everyone breathing and pulling. So I, like Caroline said, I went out of town. I had a great trip, and I came back and we started to run. And normally I'm doing the drills, and instead I just started chatting. I was talking about my trip and I was excited about it. And all of a sudden, one of the ladies says, Valerie, I'm really sorry, but I cannot keep up with you. I am not anymore with my own run. I'm trying to listen to you. I'm trying to run and keep up with you.
Yeah.
And so I had to do a full stop reset. And guys, it's important. Think about how unfair it is that someone is really out there struggling. They're trying to run. They're trying to focus. And you're over there listen to me, listen to me.
Yeah.
That's right. Honestly, that's what coffee's for. Or stretching after the run. And by the way, I'm not kidding. I'm a talker, and I talk all the time. So I had to really teach myself also that no one wants to run next to me and also hear me saying, for their whole run. Up, 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 up. Right?
Yeah, we already have it in our heads.
And so, however, to keep in mind that starting that way with someone or resetting with someone, like I like running with my anybody that wants to run with me. And we start off with a metronome or with a drill. And then usually what we do, I only have like 2 or 3 people that run with me. We go off on our own.
Yeah.
We start together. Hey, we get together. We do the drills together. We warm up. And then when you're running, it's your run. You really don't need to have someone by your side. It's okay if they're a little ahead of you, if they're okay if they're behind you, and if they are next to you, that's fine as well. But what you start to realize is running in a group is more about being with a group or being with other people, being connected, and you're all doing the movement together rather than thinking I need to be someone's listener or I need to fill empty space with conversation. Breathe. That's when you can work on a cumulative group breathing.
Yeah. Well, and I think it's really important too, because even when I was running with my group and before I met you and stuff like that, it was one of those things where I would purposely say, look, I'm not going to run with you guys today. I'm going to go and run by myself, because I knew that come race day, we all had different goals. We all had, things we wanted to achieve. Some people maybe were injured. I just maybe wanted to finish and not die. That's always the quintessential. I just don't want to die, right? So I would take those breaks occasionally so that I could be used to being alone in my own head, right? Being alone with that self-talk. And so it's a good practice to be with a group and not be talking, because that's going to possibly be your race day. You're going to be in a sea of strangers. You're not going to be next to your friend or friends. Maybe they're just doing a different race. Maybe they were just training with you, but they're doing a different race. So it's not a bad thing to bring up and to say, hey, why don't we just do this race without talking, or do this run without talking, or let's go this first circle without chatting, so that we can kind of dial in our run, because it's going to be better for you too on race day.
Yeah, and honestly, I mean, to be fair, like we do want to run our tempo runs at a nice tempo conversational pace. However, that doesn't mean you need to talk the whole time.
Yeah.
And, and it's funny because I know there, like anything else, I know there's people that are like, but that's the only time we have. So I understand all that, but take a little bit of that time. And I'm sure you guys do. I have a friend that when she does show up for running, we really can just run side by side, not say a word, and just kind of get into a nice rhythm. So it's really is a nice way to spend time. And then we'll talk after we're done. But to be honest, if you're really in a good rhythm and you're breathing, conversation isn't what you want to do. You want to stay in that nice rhythm of exhale and breathe and connect with running. That's really what happens.
That's what I always think of as the zone. When people talk about the running high, that's what creates the running high, is because you were in the zone, you were kind of in your zen, you felt really good. And like you said, it possibly feels effortless. It feels easy. So that's our challenge for you this week, guys, is see if you can get out and just, maybe bring it up to your close friends or whatever, and see if you can just kind of be alone, be by yourself, even though you're within the group, and hopefully your friends won't geek out and be all like, they'll support you in it, and you might find a couple of friends that are like, that was really fun, let's do that more often, and then you can be able to stay with your friends, be with your group without leaving the run, leaving them for Runner X, because we don't want that either. We want you joining Runner X, but we don't want you to have to leave your friends just to be with us. Okay, guys, and we will talk to you next week.
Thank you for joining us on the RunRx podcast. If you'd like to know more, join us at www.runrx.fit. And if you have additional questions that you'd like answered on the podcast, email us at support@runrx.fit.